There we go. Greetings, people. How is everyone doing today? Happy Thanksgiving weekend. Hope everyone had a great Turkey Day and you got tons of fantasy points. It was good games, right? I thought that was some exciting football for us to get the ball rolling. Three nicely offensive games, if you will. All the things. Hope you got all the points you needed, or that you're not in horrible deficits. I think I have cases of both. That's how it goes when you have some big scoring games. They played all the right guys and sit anyone out who needed to be playing. I'm Bob Harris, senior editor, footballdiehards.com. This is our weekly Saturday Ask Me Anything video, live stream on the YouTube channel. Appreciate everyone coming. I see their editorials, and it must be Saturday. It is. Either Saturday or Wednesday night. This week I can't hardly tell the difference. It's all been one long day. It's been crazy. Everyone's doing well. I see the questions are starting to pile in, so I'll jump right into them. We'll throw a few things out there. I'm sure there'll be some news coming during this show. It seems like there always is. You know the big stories. We're all waiting for Jamar Chase to come back. Josh Jacobs turned up with an injury yesterday. That's a little worrisome. He's seen that. A lot of quarterback tumult going on. A lot of situations to deal with. Justin Fields, most notably, listed as questionable. Has this injured shoulder. They throw him out there. Is he the same guy? Did they ask him to run as much? Does he run as much? So interesting thing. Lamar Jackson looks like he'll be fine to play. Kyler Murray looks like he'll be fine to play. Matt Stafford will not play. Sounds like Bryce Perkins is going to be your starting quarterback for the Los Angeles Rams. Zach Wilson is out. Mike White is in. Davis Mills is out. Paul Allen is in. These are very exciting stories, people. Sam Darnold. We hardly even back in the mix as quarterback of the Carolina Panthers. So a lot going on. I'm sure we'll touch on a lot of it. Trying to figure out what the hell's going on with some of these game time decisions are coming. We'll try and get a handle on some of those. Some of them seem pretty mysterious at the moment. The Josh Jacobs is very mysterious. There's like a little weirdness with Alvin Kamara's injury report. Like the Saints released an injury report to the media. The Kamara was not on the injury report. The official injury report, which I use, which kind of is the standard, has been for many years, released by the NFL's media site, has him listed as questionable. No one seems to know what's going on. You go to the Saints website, here's a tiebreaker. They don't even show their own injury report. They just show San Francisco. It's just a weird situation. Weird inside baseball stuff. They call that. I don't even know what baseball is. I'm lying. I don't know what inside it's a total thing. All right, everybody, let's dive into the questions. We seem to have plenty of them, and I don't want to get too far behind. By the way, you can subscribe to this channel. Just hit the button down below me. Hit the like button if you like what you see. You may hit the dislike button as well. It won't hurt my feelings. I'm able to deal with it. If you haven't tuned in anytime in the recent past or have no idea what I do, you can catch me on Sirius XM Fantasy Sports Radio Monday nights at 10, Thursday nights at 10, Friday nights at 10. You can catch me Saturday night at 8 p.m., 8 to 11 on the NFL radio and the Sirius XM Fantasy. You can try simulcast. Sunday morning, you can catch me with Jeff Manners at 11 to 1 p.m. For the pregame show there. So no shortage of me, and this adds to it all. Also do one of these on Wednesday night, 7 p.m. We do a DFS lineup show, DFS show on Saturday nights, a live stream as well. I think we're not going to do it tonight, so don't show up for the live stream. We'll watch the notifications. Some travel issues for Jamie Calandro. Apparently it's winter. Like a planes, trains, automobiles situation running around. Anyway, let's jump into questions. Hello, Tim Sanders. P. Ryan or Pacheco? I'd probably lean P. Ryan in case you missed it. I didn't say it at the top. Joe Mixon is out. And so Samaje P. Ryan, let's not expect those 3 touchdowns. And it's not a great matchup. I think for Pacheco, I don't want to say I have trust issues with him, but it's a pass heavy offense, right? And I do like the workload he's getting. I think it's pretty solid. So, and they're right in the same range. I think we rank them. Let's see here, the 23 and 28. So right in the same range, right at the tail end of the running back twos. I think P. Ryan will get both of the workload, but Chris Evans will be back, and they do have Trayvon Williams. We know that Pacheco's been getting the bulk of the carries there. There isn't no Clyde Edwards-Helaire. A little talk that we'll see maybe Ronald Jones. That was interesting when Andy Reid talked about Ronald Jones this week. He kind of mentioned that, well, he's got to make sure he knows all his protections. And, like, how long has he been there? Like, since free agency, right? Well, what do you mean you got to learn all his protections? By the way, in the city, there is no Kadarius Toney this week, so maybe more opportunities to make plays. There is, of course, no Cole Hardman. He's on IR, so he won't be around. So maybe some other things for Sky Moore, maybe a little more Pacheco, maybe a little more Jared. Maybe more of those tight ends, not named Travis Kelce, Bill Gray, Jody Fortson. So anyway, yeah, so I play long answer, Kim Sanders. Steve Linder, all is well, and it is a happy Saturday. PPR Pittman or Ayuk. And my other PPR team, you only want to go DA Johnson Colts, or pick up Nico Collins versus the Jets, or it's Nico Collins versus the Dolphins, young man. And Greg Dortch versus the Chargers. So, by the way, nicely asked question. If you think about it, people, when you're writing your questions, go ahead and put in the first initial with the name in case I'm old. I'm easily confused. I know sometimes it just doesn't click for me. And also, it helps out if you put in who the opponent is. I know most of them, just try to process the information more quickly. So your assistance appreciated that, Steve Linder, and everybody else. So I'm going to play Pittman this week. It's a great matchup against Pittsburgh. If you can't play him this week, when can you play him? I do like Ayuk a lot, and I think we have them ranked pretty closely together. By the way, I keep referring to these rankings. They're available at footballdiehards.com. It's a website. I work there. You can go there, subscribe to the site, all kinds of great information tools, all the stuff you need to make great lineup decisions, including my fantasy GM, helps you automate, streamline, your league management. If you're like me and you have like 30 teams and struggle to keep up. Yes. So Pittman for me this week, great matchup against Pittsburgh. Ayuk will be fine playing Ayuk, and I think he's been on a little roll. Concerns about San Francisco's offense are, this is like a first world problem, fantasy wise. Is you think that like in various weeks someone's not going to show up? There just seems like there's too much there. Like last week it was Kimball didn't show up, and so I just think every week it's going to be a little bit of a, not to steal the Cowboys touchdown celebration, a little bit of a whack-a-mole. Like you're playing these guys, but maybe expecting the high-end production every week is going to be a little risky. This week though, Pittman. A lot of weeks it'll be Ayuk. Diontae Johnson, I'm going to take over Nico Collins and Greg Dortch. Dortch is listed as questionable. They kind of put it on him. Kingsbury said it's a pain tolerance, a pain management issue for him. So, didn't need surgery or anything on the thumb injury. So, sounds like a play. Nico Collins has a new quarterback. Going against Miami, fairly tough defense. You think the game script might work in favor of the passing attack in this one, as it were. The passing attack, I think might be a little bit generous. Is it an attack with Kyle Allen taking over for Davis Mills? Maybe it can't be a lot worse. I hate it when I say that because it often gets much worse. But I'm gonna go ahead and play Diontae Johnson there. I know it hasn't been great. I have an article up on the site. I think for yesterday, talk a little bit about Mike Tomlin addressing the situation. He's still pretty big on Diontae Johnson. Thinks he'll be just fine. They've been force feeding them kind of red zone targets, and it's not coming to fruition. Scoring isn't coming to fruition. So, Jesse Levesque. I probably did that name, Jesse. Apologies. Foreman or Curtis Samuel. I think I'll get a lot of Foreman questions, probably a lot of Jeff Wilson questions. There. Foreman, I don't love the matchup, but do you think they're going to throw the ball a lot? Do you think it's going to get game scripted out? Do you think Denver's going to come out and go great guns on offense all of a sudden? I think probably not. I'm going to probably go ahead and play Foreman for the anticipated volume. I know it's a good matchup against Atlanta for Samuel and Terry McLaurin, maybe more so Terry McLaurin. But I would play Foreman here and just playing the volume. A lot of times, the volume is a smart play. If you need like a swing for the fence play, it's probably not Foreman. Samuel had the touchdown last week. I don't know that he's a swing for the fence guy though. BB Mac, Chubb or ETN this week looks like sure ran in Cleveland. You think that might work in Chubb's favor? It seems like nothing has been working in Chubb's favor though. Last couple games, he had like a 33-yard touchdown run. Outside of that, he hasn't done a lot, right? So I'm probably still we have ETN ranked higher. The thing about ETN is he doesn't get game scripted out. He's going to be part of it. There is no Darrell Henderson this week. They picked him up off waivers. The Rams released him. If you missed that, so I'm going to probably slightly lean ETN. Let me know if this is not a PPR. I'm going to go ahead and assume this is a PPR. If that's the case, slightly lean ETN. Just like Baltimore's defense is no joke. I realize this. And Chubb probably has maybe a little more favorable matchup. Just hasn't been great. Maybe this is a little bit of what you want, right? Are you after more of the volume? I mean, they're both going to get the volume. I'm going to go ETN here. I keep thinking every time I feel like I'm, down on Chubby, he reminds me he's Nick Chubb. Fantastic running back. You can think back a couple of years ago when he came into the league, and Matt Waldman, our friend from the rookie scouting portfolio, basically ranked Chubb as the number one back in his class that year. Guys like Saquon Barkley, with a lot of flack for it. And just, Matt's talk was it was a pure running back. He's the best pure running back. Time has proven that out. He is a phenomenal running back. Connor or Godwin for the Superflex, says Scott Campbell. I'm gonna play Connor. This should be Connor week, right? It's against the Chargers. Great matchup. Running backs tend to make hay against them. Connor's getting a ton of the opportunities, right? Getting almost all the opportunities. I know week 10 when he came back, he had like a 96% snap share. Dropped a little bit from them, but I think he's averaged still well over 75%, right in that range since his return. I think in Mexico City it got a little out of hand, and kind of he got game scripted out a little bit. Hopefully they'll continue to run the ball in this one. Tyler Murray, I think it sounds like he's going to be fine. Just seems a little, I always get a little worried about players coming back with hamstrings. Seems like an injury that can be easily aggravated, especially for a quick twitch guy who's going to take off at the moment's notice. But anyway, maybe they lean on the run a little more. But easy call for me, Connor over Godwin there, by the way. Steve Linder, PPR, running back question, need two of the three. Pierce versus the Miami, Jeff Wilson versus Texans, ETN versus the Ravens. I feel like every Jeff Wilson question is going to be the answer is going to be Jeff Wilson. Texans horrible at defense, not great at offense, even more horrible at defense. Not good at offense, horrible at defense. So definitely him, and I'm going to play ETN. I'm going to leave Pierce out. And probably a lot of questions like, I know David Pierce had a great run. If he is the offense, teams are realizing this. They're focusing on shutting him down. We've seen that more and more against Miami. You wonder if he's not going to get game scripted out. It hasn't been a huge factor in the past. I have to get a generous assessment on my part. Not that he's been totally worthless there. He does get some targets, but just hasn't been a big piece of that. And so I have concerns about playing him this week. And by concerns, I mean he's rated as a low end running back 2 for us this week, opposed to maybe a high, closer to where he's been producing over the course of the so. And Jeff Wilson obviously comes into a perfect situation in case you have not heard. Raheem Mostert has a knee issue. He's listed as doubtful. Jeff Wilson kind of has taken control of that backfield since his arrival. I think in 2 games, his snap shares went from like just over 50 to over 60. Seems well suited to the offense. And again, I talked about ETN a few minutes ago, and that all remains unchanged. I mean, don't like the matchup, but love the workload that he's going to get, especially no Darrell Henderson yet, according to Doug Peterson. And that it's hard to game script him out. He's part of the receiving game, passing game, as well as the rushing game. JR1616, hi. Guillotine League, PPR, 1. Julio Jones at Cleveland or Robert Woods at Bengals. 2. Foster Moreau at Seattle or Evan Ingram at Ravens. I'm going to go ahead and play Foster Moreau in this one against Seattle. It's a good matchup for him. Not a lot of weapons. We'll see how it happens. Maybe it's going to be an issue if there's no Josh Jacobs. We'll see more of like a Amir Abdullah, more of the receiving type backs. I don't know what they're going to do in that backfield, honestly. If Josh Jacobs can't go, we'll see how that works out. I'm probably going to play Robert Woods over Julio Jones. I think Julio Jones is a little more of a desperation, slightly more of a desperation play. I think they're both kind of desperation plays, if we're being honest, but to see how far apart it is in the rankings. Yeah. It's pretty good. It's pretty close. It's closer than I thought it would be. Yeah, I'm going to go with Robert Woods. I think Treylon Burks is kind of taking control of that, passing, the receiving role there, at least the outside game, but I think Woods will still have a role. I think Jones is a little more hit or miss for me. Beating back PPR, Josh Palmer, Cortland Sutton, or Devontae Smith. Mike Williams is out again this week, so aggravated the ankle injury last Sunday. Boy, beautiful catch. Looked like he was back. Twisted that ankle on the twisting landing. But I think you could make a pretty good case for Josh Palmer here. I'm not against Cortland Sutton, and again, I think these are actually ranked consecutively on the site this week, and they are. both, high end wide receiver 3s, low end wide receiver 2 range. I would go ahead and play Palmer. He's spending money, right? And just expect the role to continue. And Sutton's going to be fine this week, with 2 games without Jerry Jeudy, his numbers, his opportunities have risen. I just not a big fan of that offense. And Devontae Smith is in the mix too. Oh, I totally ignored Devontae Smith. Smokes. Maybe Smith is the better option here. I'd probably play Palmer myself. All right, need one, David Patrick. Foreman, Carter, or P. Ryan? So Michael Carter with Mike White. Check down kind of guy. Boy, Michael Carter is appealing in a PPR league here. I want to check the rankings. Just Steve's, and again, in Foreman, not really down on Foreman, but he kind of can get game scripted out here a little bit. I know they want to run the football, right? That's going to be their desired outcome for the Carolina Panthers because I don't think they want to lean so heavily on Sam Darnold. I want to see ghosts. I'm going to rank them Carter, P. Ryan, Foreman this week. Roger Hill in. Don't dismiss my ability to butcher names, people. PPR, need 2 of these running backs. Some of your Purina James Robinson. Samaje Perine, I'm thinking that's spell checker just did you in. Samaje Perine or James Robinson. I play Perine this week. Robinson's still playing a secondary role, kind of a complementary piece to Carter. I think this is a big Carter week. Just look to change the quarterback, Mike White. Again, check it down a lot. So Perine for the workload. Steve Linder would like to know PPR running back ETN versus Ravens or Lamar versus Panthers, and would I go Kmet or Higbee at tight end? I don't know the tight end situation. I'd probably go ahead and play Kmet. I don't know how bad Bryce Perkins is the likely starter for the Rams. Matthew Stafford is out. John Wolford got back on the practice field yesterday, so he's not ruled out. And he's not on the injury report because of questionable designation. So it sounds like Bryce Perkins got all person reps. He came in, completed up in 50% of his passes. But honestly, just not keen on these Rams pieces. And by the way, Higbee is listed as questionable as well, so that kind of adds to it. I'm probably going the other way there. I'd play ETN over Murray. Murray is going to get some volume. I think he's a solid low end running back too. If they get to the goal line, he's going to get great opportunities. I think ETN again not going to get game scripted out, and I know it's not a great matchup, but I'm probably going to get a lot of white. I don't know what I think everyone's all in now that. Well, I guess, yeah, because I guess you got some good options. Yes, you're right. I should have thought of it. We did get a lot of questions on the radio as well last night. Rashad White, there is no Leonard Fournette's listed as doubtful, so don't expect. This is our chance, right? And the momentum had already started. Rashad White had already kind of gained a little ground on him, and we saw it last week. And then Todd Bowles came out early this week, talked about how they were going to go with the hot hand, which is code for we're ready to make the change. We saw last in Germany. Rashad White had the 100-yard game, his first 100-yard game. Leonard Fournette injured the hip, and so a little, opens the door for that workload. Keyshawn Vaughn's there, and I guess Giovanni Bernard can be elevated from IR this week. They'll do that sometime today if it's going to happen. But Keyshawn Vaughn's not cutting into that workload. This is Rashad White week. White versus Cleveland, yes. Or Jones versus Philadelphia half-point PPR. I think we're taking this pretty far out there. I want to say, for me, Jones remains at the tail end of the running back ones, right? Even against Philadelphia, because again, another back that doesn't game scripted out is going to be part of the game no matter what. So I'm going to go with Jones. I get the desire to play White, and it's not crazy. I have White more ranked in the middle of the running back twos, quite at the tail end of the running back ones. So, not outrageous to say I have a hunch. And I will not go on my hunch tirade right now, but suffice it to say, when players are that close, if you have a hunch and you want to get a guy in there, go ahead. It's okay. It's like not like the matchup is gonna, destroy you. It's a fair matchup for White. I mean, a reasonably good matchup. I just wanted to look at the numbers for that. What do we got there? White, Cleveland defense allowing the third most rushing yards for. I'm not going to talk you out of White. I feel like you want to play White. I feel like a lot of people are going to want to play White, and I won't talk many of you out of it. I'm playing Jones, so there. KJ Frederick, if Josh Jacobs is out, who's a better flex play? Zamir White, P. Ryan, or Paris Campbell, 4-point PPR. I would go with P. Ryan there. And again, I'm not like a huge fan of P. Ryan's matchup this week, but I'm a huge fan of the anticipated workload. And Zamir White just it seems a little mysterious. I don't know if he would, necessarily be the plug and play. I think we kind of all expect he would be the early down or the between the tackles guy if there's no Jacobs, and maybe topping that up with Amir Abdullah, maybe Brandon Bolden in the mix. Once we get past, I was talking about this a week or so ago. It seems like the you know the New England people that came over, Josh McDaniels and the GM, they came with the thought that they were going to run a running back by committee approach, similar to what they did in New England. I think Josh Jacobs kind of turned that around. Remember, we talked going into the season is they didn't pick up his option. They're going to treat Josh Jacobs like a rental car and just turn him in, run the wheels off him, and turn him in a mess, and go on from there. And I think Josh Jacobs, to his credit, has made their strategy one that they are going to run the wheels off him because he's their best option by far. Without him, I don't know if they don't revert back to their old New Englandy ways and just chop it up. I feel like if there is no Josh Jacobs, to me, it seems like Amir Abdullah is the one that I have a reasonable expectation for, but I don't know if you should have reasonable expectations for any of them or a major expectation. So I go P. Ryan there. I love Paris Campbell. This is a good matchup for Paris Campbell. Watch the injury report today. Paris Campbell's been dealing with an illness. He worked fully yesterday. I think he'll be fine. A lot of illness going on. A lot of that going on. Kevin O'Brien, best running back, full point PPR, Dameon Pierce, Murray, or P. Ryan. Probably in the reverse order of what you have them for me. I have Murray ahead of pretty close. Actually, the rankings like them. So I'm a little down on Pierce just because I think this is going to be a horrible game script game. You're just expecting the Dolphins without a lot of defense. Even sort of like they're going to be without Derek Stingley Jr. again, the rookie cornerback who has not been great, but he was been the starter for a reason. So I just feel, I feel like they're going to get boat raced, and it's going to be hard for Dameon Pierce to have a role. The rankings like them in the order you have them: Pierce, Ryan, and Murray, and they are ranked consecutive, right? So 22, 22, 22. An interesting group. Yeah, it's funny how a lot of times these questions, I think about them for a second and I check the rankings, and it turns out they're like so damn close. No wonder they're hard decisions, right? I hear you. Let's see. Steve Linder, defense question: KC versus Rams or Jets versus Bears? I think this comes down to the Jets defense has been ferocious, right? I'm all about attacking the worst quarterback. I don't know who the worst quarterback's going to be here. So maybe you wait and you make a little decision, or maybe you just go with the Jets. They have tons of sacks. The Bears have given up, I think, 40 sacks, tied for the most with Colts. So either way, probably the Jets is the right answer. I get the KC though, because you're looking for disruptive playmaking ability. Obviously, that's what I'm looking for, right? I want to do two things. I want to pick on a bad quarterback, and I want to have playmaking ability. And I think both those defenses have that. Excuse me for a second. Hello, Avery. Pat B, good morning. Me too. Pittman versus Pittsburgh. Pierce versus Miami. Palmer at Arizona and Garrett Wilson to Chicago. I'll go ahead and drop Garrett Wilson out of there. And certainly a quarterback really screws that up. I do like Josh Palmer. I'd probably play Pierce over Pittman, but that's pretty close. Which means I play with Palmer and Pittman are very close. We have flex rank on the website. Sometimes they can be useful. Yeah, I'd probably go like it'd be Pippen and Palmer, and then Wilson among the wide receivers. I'd probably give Pierce a shot, but honestly, I don't see a lot of upside there. I don't see a lot of scoring. So if you wanted to go with Pittman over Pierce, I would not dispute you there. I try to get out of my old school tendencies. My old school tendencies are, the first law of flexology over wide receiver. You don't chase opportunity, right? I mean, you don't get anything without volume. Getting volume doesn't always get you something, though. I mean, it can, but in this case, I don't expect as much from Pierce. But that's kind of the flow of life. Well, I appreciate everyone putting the questions in great ways like that. Also, if you could hit the subscribe button or hit the like button, helps feed the algorithm, keeps us over on the YouTube channel. Appreciate you coming to the YouTube channel every Saturday at noon, every Wednesday at 7 p.m. on the Hot Seat, Bob Harris. We generally do our DFS live stream on Saturday nights. Got some travel complications for Jimmy Calandra, so we're going to skip it tonight. Couldn't get two help to come sit in. It's the holiday weekend. Things are going on for people. So when the plans fell apart for a travel situation for our hosts, we're going to go scrap it. Apologies for that. You can tune into SiriusXM Fantasy Sports Radio or NFL Radio. Mike Dempsey and I will be talking about all kinds of things. You can call us up and ask us questions, just like you're asking here. I'll get back to those questions. Aaron Jones, Burks, or Paris Campbell. I'll play Aaron Jones there. Again, I keep Aaron Jones still for me is at the tail end of the running back ones, receiving ability, rushing ability. I do like Burks is coming on a little bit, and I like Paris Campbell now for especially only with Matt Ryan because I didn't like anybody. So, but I do like both those receivers, but I'm playing Aaron Jones. Kevin O'Brien, full PPR, best flex, or Rashad White, Aaron Gibson, or Chris Olave. I'm going to play Rashad White there. And again, I like Olave an awful lot. He is highly ranked, well inside the wide receiver twos. Do not like the matchup on the road against San Francisco for a lot of the pieces in this Saints offense, though. That includes Alvin Kamara. I'm a big fan of Alvin Kamara. You can go to the website and read the DFS out column and the tournament column, where I go into detail on Alvin Kamara, why I hate him. Just not a fan this week. Don't like that matchup. Roger Gutierrez, tough decisions. Hey, half-point PPR start 3. Hopkins, Sutton, Smith, Palmer, Burks, Pierce, Campbell. Hopkins for sure. If I told you not to start Hopkins, would you slap me in the face? I would slap me in the face. Hopkins would probably go Josh Palmer. Ooh, that third one's going to be tough, right? It's probably Devonta Smith. The first 3 for me. Like those, I like the rest of them. I mean, you can make the argument for Palmer over Smith. I think that's an argument you could make. They're very close, but that's what the direction I'm going. Chiefs D or Broncos D. Again, you're attacking some quarterback situations there that I'd be looking to attack. Probably would lean. I just wonder if the Broncos or the Panthers aren't going to pull their horns and just hand the ball to Deontay Foreman, or just try and protect Sam Darnold. I wonder if the Rams aren't going to do the same with Bryce Perkins. By the way, we've got no Cooper Kupp, we've got Allen Robinson, Tyler Higbee, both questionable. They've run the ball horribly. So if both teams are running, it limits your opportunity to make the big plays. I'll probably leave Broncos here. Iron Eddie 1120 full point PPR. Damian Pierce versus Miami, or Rashad White versus Cleveland. This Rashad White all day. Godwin versus Cleveland, or Jesse Palmer versus Minnesota. Play Godwin. Palmer's not a bad play at all. Half point PPR. Kamara versus San Francisco. Pierce versus Miami. Ugh. Sutton versus Carolina, or Watson versus Philadelphia. You think Watson's going to – I mean, people are starting to think that at least Watson merits the Darius Slay treatment, right? He's been the big weapon. Can't imagine Allen Lazard trying that. But all the defensive backs there are good. I'm going to probably go ahead and lean Sutton here. It's going to be matchup. And and I'm going to play Kamara over Pierce. I'm not fans of either of them this week. Need two. Chubb, Murray, or Gibson. Let's say I'm going to go with the first two. I want to say Chubb and Murray. The matchup on Gibson. So it's a favorable matchup for the passing game, right? And he's going to have a role in the passing game. I'll probably go ahead and play him. So I'm going to go ahead and go with Chubb and Gibson. And again, Murray, I like the anticipated volume. You know, I should acknowledge he has not done a lot with the volume. I mean, it's not fantastic. Carries had 70 yards last week. So, I mean, he's kind of that guy. Again, I'm okay chasing the volume, but I think Gibson's a little higher. Need two, says Andrew. Olave versus San Francisco, Pittsburgh. So I'm going to go Pittman, and I'm going to probably go Palmer. I'm not against Olave, and maybe I'm overstating the matchup here. I just don't like the matchup this week. This is the lowest we've ranked Olave, I think, I want to say, for a month. So where do we have Olave? They're all right in the top. So this is personal preference, maybe, Andrea. You know, again, you kind of inflate these things in your head. I have a tendency to, and I think based on calls and questions, I think we all do as fantasy managers. We picture a matchup being daunting, and we just like look for every other possible option. I keep thinking back to that play last week where he threaded the needle to Olave with a defender right in his face, or in all his face. The smart money probably says Olave and Pitt. I might be too good at Palmer in the lineup. Pat, we also need to PPR two of these: Debo versus New Orleans, Olave versus San Francisco, Mike Evans Cleveland. So I go Gibson and Evans. Olave would be next. Debo, you've got the uncertainty with the hamstring. They're saying it's like a different issue than he had before that sidelined him. I don't know. They might be lying. They might not. Just, that's a late afternoon kickoff. You could always switch over if you had a better feeling. I mean, it seems like Marshall Lattimer's coming back too. I don't know. I'm going to go ahead and say I'm just going to avoid that game altogether and go Gibson. Jesse Studio needs one. Pittman, Sutton, or Olave. Olave is going to be at the top of these rankings. Pittman's right there. I like his matchup a little better than I like Olave's. Tua or Burrow. I'm playing Tua. Jesse, like if you want to do the stack, I mean, I think that's great, but kind of, if you have Chase and he's playing, you're kind of getting a fair amount of Burrow anyway. I'm playing Tua against the Texans. Oh, we're getting the echo feedback again. Man. A lot of effort into not getting the echo feedback. Hear that. Have Eckler, Walker, and Jeff Wilson, keeper league. Which two? Which two are you going to keep? No, you're playing Eckler. I'm Walker. I mean, you're playing Eckler and Walker. No doubt about it. One of the few questions. Like, these are the things that happen, though, over the course of a season, David. And it's a great question because it raises that point. Well, what do we do when we get to that point where we have more great guys than we can start? And having depth is great, but you're going to have these tough weekly decisions where you're going to kind of browbeat yourself after the fact. I mean, Jeff Wilson maybe is good a matchup as you go. I don't know. Next to Kenneth Walker's matchup against the Las Vegas Raiders, he's coming off a little bit of a clunker. Where you're playing locked-in starter every week in PPR, especially. So yeah, that's the direction I'm going. It's a good problem to have, but it's going to be tough decisions some weeks like this week. And also, maybe at some point you consider looking, especially maybe your trade deadline's past in your league. But these are always circumstances or opportunities. I don't know what the rest of your depth is. I mean, you're giving me your top three options. And I love having depth ahead in the season. You never know what's going to happen, right? But also, if I haven't needed another position, you might have a great piece in Jeff Wilson that can get you a IM play from somebody who has a weakness of running back and maybe a surplus wide receiver like you have a running back. So it's worth going out and looking at your league's rosters and kind of checking them over and seeing what's going on there. All right, Andrea, need two running back. Damian Pierce versus Miami, Rashad White versus Cleveland, Murray versus Carolina. I would rank them as White, Murray, Pierce. So, hope the feedback. Sorry about the feedback, David. Probably more work on that or not. We'll see. Full point PPR says Richard Hernandez. Need a running back in a flex. P. Ryan, Paris Campbell, Boyd, or Latavius. Probably going to play the two running backs here. Probably play P. Ryan and Latavius. Uh, and Boyd, doesn't completely evaporate when Jamar Chase comes back. And we don't actually know for sure that Jamar Chase is coming back. I think he is. Seems like worked on a little bit of basis all week. I think Joe Burrow let the cat out of the bag on Monday or Tuesday. He said he'll be back. Did they limit him? Is still be a pretty good role for Boyd? I don't know. But Paris Campbell to me is a better play right now than Boyd with that circumstance. Deal, Montgomery or Devontae Foreman. Montgomery all day long there. Um, tough matchups for both, but Montgomery for me. Traylon Burks is available. Would I drop Wilson or Slayton for him? Might drop Garrett Wilson for him. Also have Hubbard to drop, but I've got the option. Yeah, that's fair. Jesse Cedillo, Damian Pierce, or Terry McLaurin. I generally want to play the workload unless I think the workload is not going to result in much, like it did against the Commanders last week. I'm going to play McLaurin in a really great matchup against Atlanta's defense. That's been very generous to the wide receivers, and also McLaurin's connection with Taylor Heineke working well. Graham F. Would I flex D. Robinson for the Jaguars? Oh, the Marcus Robinson or Kurt Samuel versus Atlanta. D. Robinson would have to drop Kadarius Toney or Josh Kelly. I already have Juju and Eckler. I would go ahead and play Samuel at this point. DeMarcus Robinson is listed as questionable. Injury came up on Thursday. Even if he plays, do I know he's going to be full speed? It's a great matchup, I think, for him. But I'd probably play it safe. Go for Samuel. Also a great matchup for him. Sorry to hear about the audio, everybody. If only you knew the effort we put into fixing the audio. Robert Mitchell, Eagles defense or Jets defense? I'm probably going to play the Jets, just again, want to attack the quarterback situation, whether it's Justin Fields, a diminished Justin Fields, or Trevor Siemian. I'm probably going to go ahead and play the Jets. Some very stout pass rush. The Eagles defense has been great, right? But I think, odds of Aaron Rodgers making fewer mistakes and, being a little better able to process the information, handle the defense. Great. I know Aaron Rodgers has not been great, so I'm not overstating the case here. It's Trevor Siemian, possibly, and or a ailing Justin. I'm going to attack that. And Taryn, PPR, Sky Moore, or versus Rams, Demarcus Robinson at Jacksonville, Curtis Samuel, Atlanta, or Troy Reed at Chicago. Try to rank options if Marquise Brown or Jamar Chase. So I would rank the Samuel, Davis, and Robinson, because I think Robinson is the most questionable. Corey Davis is going to play, and he is not questionable at all. His quarterback situation, maybe a little suspect with Mike White coming in. I know Mike White has had some good games, so that's why he comes in second. DeMarcus Robinson has been essentially the wide receiver one, and he's done a great job the last couple of weeks. I just have no idea how this receiving core is going to play out. Don't have a really good feel for his injury, so that uncertainty. Maybe that all changes. Maybe if you can, obviously this early afternoon kickoff, so you can hold out and wait if you want. All right, so thank you for letting me know the audio is crappy. I don't know if this is even worthwhile to keep doing. Let me just check. Not looking to irritate everybody, just looking to, not sure if you can understand what I'm saying. Oh, okay. The people back in the office think it's not as bad as it has been, so we'll go with that. So that's the order for me on Taryn is, and maybe Robinson jumps back up to the top if he's active. Just have some concerns there. Anytime you get the injuries that come in the middle of the week, right? It's always a little bit warning sign. That said, something about the Ravens I think is worth noting is that they're really, really great box checker. They adhere to the letter and the spirit of the law, which is basically if you miss any practice time, they're going to list you as questionable, right? Whether you're really questionable or not. So there used to be a designation called probable, as older people like me will remember, and it's not used anymore. I think a lot of the people we see as questionable would probably be probable if there was still a probable designation. But I just don't have a good feel where Robinson is in that range, and that's kind of how you try to decipher. So if he's active, maybe he moves up ahead of Corey Davis. Full point PPR, Brian Robinson Jr. versus Atlanta or Kenyon Drake versus Jacksonville. The Falcons can slow the run a little bit. I'm probably going to go in, probably would depend. So you watch the inactive list coming out before the start of the game. It'll be 90 minutes before. Just see some news coming in. It says Jamar Chase not expected to play. Let me see what that's all about while we're here. Let me look into this briefly and see what the hell someone's saying. Oh, it's Jordan Schultz from The Score, who tends to break a lot of news these days. Says he is not expected to play. Let me see if he gets some detail on that. The Bengals All-Pro wide receiver had a good week of practice, but isn't quite ready to return from a hairline hip fracture and torn labrum. The hope is that he will play in Week 13 against the Chiefs, so that could change. We'll see about that, but that's where we're at right now. So I would watch Gus Edwards. If he's active, I would not. I would probably play Brian Robinson. Gus Edwards is out. Okay. Hey, Jeremy. Thank you, sir. I think Fields plays this week. If not, how much do I downgrade the rest of the skill players if I start Monty if Fields doesn't play? Yeah, I'd be fine starting Montgomery, maybe slightly more so. Fields doesn't play. Even if Fields does play, do you think he's going to run as much? I feel like they would kind of like try to avoid the contact as much as they can. I don't know if they can against the Jets, but how hard is that going to be for him to dial back as a runner? And that's kind of been his game. So interesting thing. I think when they came out early this week and basically Fields said the team told him he would be the one who decides. Well, why don't you let the player decide? The player's always going to decide to play, right? That's his left shoulder. He'll probably get an injection and probably give it a go. I do think he'll play, and I don't know that that's a great idea. Steph Olnati, trade Chase, Godwin, and Higbee, Chubb, DK. Chase, Godwin, and Higbee, or Chubb, DK, and Cooper. I want to be on the Chubb, DK, and Cooper side of that. So I don't know. Yeah, I'd probably do that. I said half my PPR, my team is Hurts Chase. Yeah, I'd probably do that. I think you have the pieces to play to pull that off. I would do it. Mike Levine, PPR, Met versus Jets, Njoku versus Tampa Bay. Thinking Njoku finally off the injury report. Maybe this is the week. I know Kevin Stefanski would commit to him being getting the full workload, right? And he got less than Harrison Bryant last week. So I think that's the concern there is how much Harrison Bryant versus how much Njoku. And again, maybe we're blowing this up to a bigger proportion, but you wonder how great it'll be for athletes. Maybe Trevor Siemian, it's more willing to throw the ball, less likely to run the ball. Maybe it will work out better for Komet and Darnell Mooney. So probably going to go ahead and lean. I'm kind of an Njoku guy, so I might be. Let me see what the ranks like him a little bit. It's pretty damn close. Yeah, this one, they're ranked close enough in the range where you can kind of go with your hunch. My hunch would kind of be Njoku, but slightly Mike. So if you want to follow the algorithm, which is often righter than my hunches, Komet would be the play. If Fields says start Tannehill or Lawrence, I probably prefer Tannehill in this one. I'd say. Yeah, I probably want to start Tannehill as opposed to Lawrence in Baltimore until I get Cincinnati. Mike Levine, full point PPR, need one. DJ Moore versus Denver. Foreman versus Denver. Mooney versus Jets or Cooks versus Miami. I'd probably play Foreman in this case. Mike, yeah, need half point PPR. Need one. Mike Evans, Josh Palmer, or Brandon Ayuk. Probably Evans over Palmer and Ayuk. Najee Harris or Rashad White. I would probably play Rashad White this week. Chris Grease, right? Mark Jurgenski. PPR versus Baltimore, Ayuk versus New Orleans. I'm probably going to play Ayuk, but I do think that like if there's a piece of the Jaguars pie that I slice that I'd like, I actually probably Kirk is the play for me. Um, yeah, he's the one piece I have a little bit of confidence. Well, ETN too, but I mean I think they're going to have to bring the ball some. So yeah, I'd probably go. PPR flex. Latavius at Carolina, Fournette at Cleveland if he plays. Fournette's not going to play. He's down. Kyron Williams at KC or Gerald Everett at Arizona. Uh, that's not that he never delivers. Much. Boy, I'd play Latavius against Carolina out of all these options. Just so I kind of was wondering, and I have an article up on the footballdiehards.com website right now. It kind of goes into this. Maybe this is a running back week, but I mean, it just hasn't been great, right? The things aren't working for this offense because the offensive line is horrible. So that seems a little bit of a problem to me. So I'm going to avoid that. I'm going to avoid the Rams. I'm going to avoid a lot of Rams this week. Would I drop Aaron Rodgers for Kirk Cousins? Sure. Part of the problem with Rodgers is, I mean, he set this up. At some point, the Packers will be out of contention to keep playing him. He's got a broken thumb. He's basically opened the door to whatever approach they take, whether it's just Aaron Rodgers, having reasons so he or not as critical when he throws some of the wobblers and some of the errant passes that he made. We say, oh, he's got a broken thumb. Or when it's time to say, well, we're out of contention, he's got a broken thumb. Let's see what Jordan Love can do. I mean, they need to see what Jordan Love can do at some point. So that'd be the concern there. He's obviously going to be on the field because he's like 4 years in the playoffs. Robert Mitchell, Jonathan Taylor, Walker, John Wilson. I'm playing Ian Walker. As always, an honor. Well, thank you, 513 Rookie. An honor to have you here. Appreciate everyone coming. Sorry about the sound issues if you're having them. We will continue to work on this and put as much time and effort as we can into it as we have. Always play your studs. Mostly play your studs. I mean, sometimes your studs change, right? That changes over the course of the season. It's an evolution. It's not, not a standard thing. So, I would probably still play perhaps ETN, but there's, there's damn good reason to play Rashad White. We've seen the momentum. Cleveland's a pretty favorable matchup, more so than Baltimore. The thing for me with the ETN is it's a big play waiting to happen. He's got roles as a runner and receiver. Change of pace situation there. They did pick up Darrell Henderson, but they said he's not going to play this week. So, am I eager to get one more week at ETN without someone cutting into the workload or nipping at the heels? I know Michael Hasty's there. He gets some turns, but not many. But Rashad White, I mean, do I expect Keyshawn Vaughn to cut into his workload at all? Not really. Giovanni Bernard comes back. Probably not really there either. So this one's ultra close. I lean ETN, and I know a lot of people are eager to play White given the opportunities with Leonard Fournette doubtful. Will PPR, White or Sutton? White. Not clicking. This is why we need initials, people. I have no idea who White is. White. It's not clicking. Happens. Sorry. Morning, Bob. Hi, Dame Overlord. Devontae Smith versus Green Bay or Cordero Patterson at Washington in a half-point PPR. Boy, it's not been great for Cordero Patterson, right? In Washington, fairly tough defense. Hey, it's been split up. So Devontae Smith, not really the kind of high-level play I would want. I mean, it'd be really easy if it was like A.J. Brown. Smith's going to show up some games he's not. I'd probably just lean slightly to Patterson here over Smith. But it's a fair question. Hello, Mr. Scampers. Half point PPR sit one, Christian Watson, Brian Robson, and Drake London playing each other in Washington. Yeah. I'm going to sit for Drake London. Oh, White. Rashad White. That's what I did. I'd play Rashad White. Yeah, thank you for clarifying. I appreciate it. Will T, full PPR, needs running back to either Etienne or White. I guess that's Rashad White. Also need a flex between Christian Watson and Pickens. I play Watson. I like Pickens, and he's coming on. Not a super daunting matchup. I mean, I might be a little more down on the Steelers offense than I should be. That's fine. We're all eager to play though. 5 touchdowns last 2 weeks. Pickens had a great game last week. Let me just look at what the numbers say here. Let me try and work my computer in a way that I can reveal what the numbers this week. Computing is fun if you know how to do it, right? Okay. I can't make anything work. Holy cow. So the algorithm likes Pickens slightly more, right? And I think it's probably due to the matchup. I get that. So I'll go with that algorithm. It makes the targets have been going his way, and maybe this is something if you're taking a swing for the fence play, maybe go ahead and play Watson. I mean, Darius Slay's not like Superman. He's been beat 2 weeks ago. Terry McLaurin kind of drug him all over up and down the field. But anyway, I think it's probably a smart play there. And I'm playing ETN over White. Answered in number 5. Is Leonard Fournette out, or is he a game time decision? He is doubtful, which is going to be rarely do players play when they're doubtful. I think I can count on one hand how many times it's happened in the last 20 years. So sure, he's a game time decision. One for running back 2 and one for flex. Choose between Rashad White, Etienne, Kenny Walker, Pickens, and Debo. One for RB2 and one for flex. So I'm playing both. I'm playing Etienne and Kenny Walker. I mean, it's not even close. Rashad White, is the tail end of that conversation and could easily outproduce either of them. If you fear the Baltimore Ravens matchup for Etienne, then play White over Etienne. No way I'm sitting Kenny Walker. Any of those guys for either of those wide receivers. Will T PPR need 3 between Burks, Pickens, or Sutton? They did have a great Thanksgiving. I watched football and talked on the radio. It was phenomenal. Need 3 between these 3. I kind of want to play Burks, but really bad. Sutton and Pickens are probably the top 2 for me. If you only need one, probably Sutton. I do like what Burks is doing. I do like the workload, but we kind of know, the issue there is a little bit, are they going to continue to throw the ball? Matchup for him as well. I'm trying to talk myself into Burks here, and I still can't. So I'd reconcile the Pickens, Burks. Ouch, audio in the beginning. Can't, once the issue is started, I can't do anything about it. But you only have like 6 more minutes to put up with. Sanders, Montgomery, half point PPR. I'm gonna go Montgomery there. I mean, Sanders is it a Sanders week or a not Sanders week? It seems like it's so hard to figure out. For me, I just not trustworthy. I mean, he's playable. He's a starting back for a good offense, but just doesn't get that kind of starting back usage we get. Should I drop? Yes. Bryce Perkins or Matt Ryan? Absolutely, you should. Love the lobby, but Dalton. Yeah. Okay, it's still 0 confidence, most hunchable, 1 PPR, non PPR. So I would, I kind of have the same feeling. I don't like this game on the road in San Francisco, and again, don't want to overblow the matchup because that's we get these things into huge issues. And the lobby's been very good no matter what. But these are both great options. I probably agree with Pittman if you want to pick one. Andy, Smith against the Raiders or Kyler Murray against the Chargers. I'm going to go ahead and play the safe play. And by safe play, I mean the Geno Smith play. Right? I think Kyler Murray's fine, right? They say he's 100%. We ranked him 9 and 10 this week. Great matchup for Geno Smith. But a lot of times when you're splitting hairs, this is something we like to do here, is you play the healthy one. It's pretty simple. Pretty simple. So for me, it would be an easy call. Would I go Sutton or Godwin? I have Evans as well. I go ahead and go Sutton. And I play Evan Ingram this week over Tyler Higbee. Will Power. That is the report. Thank you, 513. I appreciate it. Appreciate everyone coming and putting up with that. And we will work on it. Trust me, we have put a lot of effort into this. We will continue to chase it down and try and figure out what the issues are. We use some studio software. Seems to be something with the inputs there. And we kind of thought we had it sorted out after a couple of great episodes. And now we'll go back to work on it. Jimmy G, Mike White, or Matt Ryan this week. Jimmy G all day long. Jimmy G has been the king. Hey, I hear that the score is saying Jamar Chase is out this week. Yes, Jordan Schultz is saying that. Chase is out. Yes. Thank you. But Jimmy G has been man on point. And it reminds me of something that Kyle Shanahan said when they picked up Christian McCaffrey, right? That he's a force multiplier. And one of the forces he's multiplying is clearly Jimmy G. But he's right. It's making everyone better, and it's opening things up, and Jimmy G's taking advantage of it. Andy, Indy or Cordero Patterson, Washington. Thank you. I appreciate you coming, and I appreciate you listening to the show. I'm going to probably play Cordero here, but honestly, I don't have super high hopes for him, but he does get the quality touches, it seems like the red zone look. So I'm probably going that way, slight lean, and hoping for a good game. Hope it's not a great strategy, but I think you're kind of developing it. Keenan Allen versus Arizona, Montgomery versus New York Jets. I'm playing Montgomery, but I do like Keenan Allen an awful lot. I'm trying to finish out all these questions if I possibly can. Need two tough choices: Jeff Wilson versus Bad Houston. I think you're answering the question with your question, right? I think you want to play Jeff Wilson. I think it's close enough that you absolutely can. I want to say we ranked them others for the first time in a while, right outside the top 12, and Wilson's right there with him. So go ahead and do that. Aaron Jones versus Philly. Again, you're asking me. I think you frame these questions how you want to answer, and I feel the same. I think we Jelly of the Month. We share totally share the views on this. So I would play the guys that you're leaning towards, and that would be Jeff Wilson and Aaron Jones. Eager to play those other pieces. That's part of it. Can't play them all. Najee or Jeff Wilson? Jeff Wilson. You said it. Most is out. Well, let's be clear. He's doubtful. Not ruled out yet, but doubtful. Evan Ingram versus Baltimore, or Noah Fant versus the Las Vegas. I'm going to go with Ingram only because, there's like 3 tight ends for Seattle. And it's hard to figure out which one. There seemed like the times when Fant was gaining a little momentum, and then he kind of seems to lose it. So don't have a good feeling for him. I'm going to go ahead and play him. Hurts or Burrows, please. I had the same dilemma last week. What happens? I'm going to go ahead and play Hurts. I'm pretty sure this week. I just want to go. Yeah. Thank you, Mr. Scampers, for coming. Appreciate it. E111, happy holidays. I appreciate that. In the Standard League, pick 2, A.J. Brown, Murray, and Kirk. This is like one of the rare cases where I'd probably start all 3 of these wide receivers over Murray. I like Murray fine as a running back, too, like running back. I think we're tailing into running the wide receiver with Kirk, so, but I'd probably play Brown. And you're playing him realizing there are weeks where he doesn't always show up. If you're playing McLaurin, it's a much better matchup, and he's been a little more consistent. But I kind of list them in the order you list them. Hello, Remy. Appreciate you. 513 rookie. Lamar or Geno Smith. Yeah. Big article up on the site that kind of lays out. Lamar has not been great since week 4. I think he has top 10 performances though. One week. A top 9, came in 9th one week, 10th another week. It's been a tough run for him. That said, so it's maybe a little bit of what you need. If you want the higher upside play, probably still Lamar. Geno Smith has been great. I think he's maybe a safer play. Thank you, Andrea, for coming. Thank you, Mike McHugh, for coming. I appreciate you. I'm going to wrap it up with this one last question. Marquise Brown or Curtis Samuel? I'm playing Curtis Samuel as things stand now. Watch the website later today. What they said about Marquise Brown is if he plays, he might be a limited role. I'm skeptical of that. If he's playing and he's playing well, are they going to limit him? Probably not. Um, but maybe, for me, I'd like to give it a week and play Curtis Samuel. All right, everybody. Appreciate you coming. Sorry if there were sound issues. We'll work on that. See you again next Wednesday night. Remember, no DFS live stream tonight. We'll pick that up again next Saturday, 9 p.m. Eastern Time. In the meantime, if you're looking for something tonight, I'll be on the Sirius XM NFL Radio and the Fantasy Channel. Slime with that. Can't hardly miss it. 8 to 11. And then I'll be on again the pregame show on Sirius XM Fantasy with Jeff Mans tomorrow night with Dempsey. We'll take calls all night, so if you want to call, give us a call. Chris Allen will be joining us from 4 for 4 Football Guys, NBC Sports. Chris Allen is a great guy, great guest. Liam, I play Murray over Juju. All right, everybody. Good luck. We'll see you next week. Have a great. I see Levesque. I got it. Put it in there, and I'll say it right next time, Jesse. Just Levesque? I don't know. All right. Let's